Hello, I am here to play Dead Cells and tell you a deep and dark, disturbing tale. Story of when I happened to be a cheese farmer. Now, you may think that means that I once had goats or cows, for example. No, that would be entirely inaccurate. I was not that type of But before we get to that, yes, today it is Dead Cells. I'm loving all the neato stuff they've done with the new one. And I've completely messed up, I feel like. Anyways, the important part, I need to tell you my tragic backstory. So, first off, I will tell you about how I got into the cheese farming business. You see, long ago, there was a great and powerful form of cheese growing called the Great Cheese Trees from the Moon. My grandpappy, he always used to say that they because generations ago, too long back for anybody to remember, we went and we stole cheese trees from the moon. And that is why the aliens steal our cows. Why they torment us with such heinous ferocity. Not a single thing can be done to stop them as it is. Worry not. That is not the problem of the story. For the cows are what they take, and they leave us for now. Another day, we may talk about this. But alas, it is hard to focus. The memory of what happened is always so fuzzy and bleedingly slow. On another occasion, on another place, I could tell you better. But as it is, we came into contact with those damned trees, thinking they would do nothing to give us their good moon cheese. And for the longest time they did, our moon cheese was the splendor of all. The family had riches beyond riches. Nobody ever stop us from having a good time at the local fair. It happened once a week, even in the winter. Then, to my knowledge, Grandpappy made a deal. A deal with some fearsome life. Nothing I had ever seen. Darkness had swept over the farm, and we were not scared of our wealth turned to dirt, our paintings to ash. Mother was entirely confused, as were the most of us, except for Grandpappy. Grandpappy sat back, comfortable in his armchair, as it slowly turned into more, slowly turned into more snakes. He was comfy. He wasn't going anywhere. He was not about to leave, for he was completely safe. Although snakes were chair snakes, so they were quite comfortable. A lesser man would not have been able to sit in the chair snakes at all. But I will admit, at the time I was indeed also a lesser man. I could not sit with the chair snakes. No. There was nothing to do about it. I don't want these. I don't want these chair snakes, Grandpappy. He was confused, hurt even, wondering why I would ever say such a terrible thing. But soon he understood there was no way a 4-year-old child would hang out with chair snakes. So the night continued, the house devolving into strange animals, weird faces, and a tangle of utter nonsense in my brain stayed. Ouch! Goodness! Oh. Got it. Okay. Anyways. Yes. We had our cheese farm, but nowhere to live. So, deep inside of the trees we went. We lived in them for many a year, regrowing our wealth as the cheese was always wanted and never questioned. I regret heavily how much of it I consumed. It changed me, just like it changed Grandpappy. Before long, I started seeing leathery couch snakes in the corner of my vision. I knew whatever had made that deal with Grandpappy was ripening my mind with torment, putrefying my insides so that I may agree with him on such a disgusting thing. And yet, I did not. I kept away from all of the foul, violent, wriggling tendrils. Those damn snakes haunt me still, and yet I felt them. Not today, snakes. Not today. In a more deep, horrendous era of my life, after living amongst the snakes and the cheese for so long, did we eventually find a small trailer to move onto the property. Now, everything else that we had attempted to build just turned into more damn snakes. It mattered not what I did. Snakes about. There were plenty of reasons to escape the vicinity. Oh, the money that it made for us. We had so much, and yet so little. Could you imagine such a life? I dare think it is something no one can live. But also, completely doable with the amount of medical research that went on in the city. Nevertheless, Grandpa stopped his aging, stopped his bickering, moaning, and most of all, stopped doing anything at all. We did find it quite odd. Grandpa just sat there, staring into the void. Now, since the trailer wasn't built on our property, it did not devolve into snakes, or did not truly belong, this brought about its own complication issues, such as the snake's ever-present assault. Such as it was, there was not much we could do other than quietly, simply sit inside and wait for the wave pass. We may have been a bit too eager with the amount of snakes that we truly created. I will not bore you with details. But have it be known that we done good. We had a great old time living in such wonderful and esteemed a place as it were. That trailer was wonderful for many reasons. Most of all, no couch seats. Soon after dispersing with most of the issues, we were living quite well. Grandpa hadn't aged or moved for about 5 years at this point. But none of us really seemed to want to bother him about it. It didn't seem all too necessary. We should have known better. It's quite a silly thing to ignore. I mean, man being creepy is absolute hell. We're just sitting here going, oh yeah, this is fine. I think we just didn't want to think about it. I think a lot of things these days were the things we wanted. I seldom at all. Words escape my lips as I attempt to plead them from drying throat pieces. Age has taken a toll on me only in the last 20 years. And these ramblings seem only more so close to the truth. No one can see me. I am getting off topic. I am sorry. I am ready to continue. I will describe the cheese trees better. The cheese trees, they were all white and ridged. They say that the cheese tree has no rings on the inside, and indeed, much like mushroom fruit, the cheese trees were just a solid pattern inside. The mycelial network, like roots, connected all trees together, much like some earth trees after years. The trees themselves had ridges on the outside, growing a new lump and ridge every time they would age. This was, of course, how we could tell. Since the ridges were not inside, you just simply counted top to bottom how many bumps and ridges in the cheese trees for its age since sprouting. Now, this isn't perfectly accurate, but it's close enough. The cheese trees actually grow full wheels of cheese on their vines, hang down low from the branches close to the ground. Only about half of the cheeses are actually viable. This tree hunts. It hunts with its cheeses, knowing that creatures as humans barely resist. Once we get a whiff, it is almost too much. Darkness overtakes us. Cheese. Oh, the goodness of cheese. We do, however, have an easy way to check for the fruit and seed cheese, and not the trap cheese. see. Fruit and seed-bearing cheeses are different, of course, with fruit-bearing cheeses being made to lure in unsuspecting prey. If it does not get killed, then, of course, it will hopefully bring back more to find the elusive, natural-grown cheese worms. Different kinds of cheese grow every single time. It is unknown to us how the cheese is decided, but it is well worth it to go through the process. Now, those cheeses are, the easy cheeses are, of course, the second easiest to crack open the wax-like husk. It's very thick, waxy substance that forms out and around before the cheese fills the inside from the tree. We found this because if you crack them open too soon, you just end up with nacho cheese and a damned fly bringing in mess. Oh, it's nasty. You can harvest them early if you wish for nacho cheese, but usually it is nacho cheese made with whatever cheese it would have grown into, so that, I mean, some cheeses aren't made for nachos. That's just the bottom line of it. I don't want to be rude to anybody, but I don't think that I can really stand for such a thing. I will not point fingers or make suggestions, though, as that does feel just a bit much. Nevertheless, there seems to be a heavy discussion amongst the scientific community about all of these topics. So you can take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. This is just from personal viewing experience. Now, the second cheese I'd like to talk to you about is the poison cheese, not the trap cheese. Trap cheese is the most complicated cheese, whereas the poison cheese has a slightly thicker carapace, grows in a little bit smaller, but it's really hard to tell because the carapace is so much thicker in points. But the wheels themselves are noticeably smaller, and this is the best way for you to check between the two. After you've determined, of course, that it isn't trap cheese, which we'll go over in a moment. Trap cheese is no, don't worry about that. So the carapace of the poison cheese is actually the edible part of it. It, when taken off, can be peeled from the inside out to work kind of like Doritos. Now, you gotta get rid of the inside layer as it's been touching that poison cheese, so you go about a 1/4 inch back when you're peeling it. Use a knife to start and peel by hand, but only if you're wearing some metal gauntlets. You really gotta get something good to get in there and dig. You know, always glove up, triple glove, plastic, rubber, plastic, coated on the outside of the rubber, of course, and then your metal gauntlet. This should avoid chafing while you're peeling poison cheese. Now, the poison cheese that you have left over, you just want to grab it, crumble it up, and spread it around the base of the tree. This will actually work as an excellent pesticide and keep any of those bad damn flies I was telling you about away, especially if you accidentally broke open a nacho cheese earlier. You know how it can be. Damn nachos. Either way, I did find once inside of a poison cheese Cool Ranch Doritos, and man, that was the craziest day. I'm telling you, like, that kind of thing just don't happen. It's always every other kind. Literally every other kind. Other farmers get Cool Ranch. Nope, not us. We've only had it once. And boy, did we eat good that night. Poor Jimmy took he was extra hungry. He didn't want to wait like he was supposed to. So, of course, what did he do? He went down there and he went over and tried to crack one open himself. Now, he didn't find any more Cool Ranch of course, but what he didn't do is he only went about, like, 1/10 of an inch down. He really should have pushed it farther, took it a lot better, but he couldn't. He couldn't hold himself back. And boy, he barely got it wrong when he was making that peel, but he got the tiniest bit of that neurotoxin. Boy, he just ain't been the same since. You know, he does these weird things with his mouth. When he goes and he visits Grandpa, you can't actually tell what he's saying. I know it's words, but anybody else I seen get poisoned by that, they just died right on the spot. Instant heart failure. It just stopped. Nothing to do about it. They're done. Ah, damn cheese is taking so many. So damn good. Man. I tell you, the rate these things grow at, you can buy and grow a cheese tree and support your family for months off of it within first week. That's why these things are so good, why we don't tell anybody about it, really. The reason I'm telling you now is because, well, they're terrible monsters. Now, we didn't understand this going in. We didn't understand trap pods, let's say. Now, the trap pods, they look very, very much like the other two, but they got this aroma about them. Boy, they smell like the best food you've ever eaten. No, I'm telling you, like, you think that they wouldn't smell like anything you know. You wouldn't think the cheese pod, the pod outside. Don't you touch it. That's where it gets you. You touch it, it has a hold of your mind. And we call them trap pods because they trap your brain. You'll just sit down, you'll crack that sucker open. Anything you can do to crack that thing open, and you will eat it. Unless you get a whole horde of people to hold you down, keep you locked down until you come to your senses. Sometimes we can't even trust you at that point, depending on how much you touched it already. There's some kind of oil growing on the outside of those ones. It makes you crazy. It makes you eat meat until you eat one of the poison ones. And it's all over for you. God, it does other nasty things. Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Well, while you're trying to crack it open, you think, you gotta use something like a hammer or better. These are hard shells, like giant nuts. Maybe not quite that sturdy per se, but very similar. To hold the cheese wheels and keep them safe from other predators, the unintended prey, that is. It's not strong enough to break open the cheese wheel, and it ain't worth it for this tree to consume. Now, the poison cheese, like I told you, it'll just kill you right out. Or it'll drive you mad if you only get the tiniest bit. This trap cheese, the fruit inside the trap cheese seems just fine. It don't seem to have nothing bad about it. And who knows, maybe what's on the outside of it is the same stuff that's on the poison cheese. That ain't for me to decide to figure out. That's just what it may or may not be. I don't know. I ain't gonna find out anytime soon. I think we need to get rid of all these things. Now, our orchard, it takes the lives of quite a few poachers coming in trying to steal our cheese. They'd come in, they'd hit the trap cheese, and well, the next morning you'd find a dead, bloated, cheese-filled corpse right next to you. Never even knew what hit him. Poor sons of bitches shouldn't have been trying to steal, and it's not like we could really report how many dead bodies we kept finding on the farm. Nonetheless, we kept quiet, yeah. We just let the tree do its thing. Before long, we just started assuming something about the trap cheese, or cheese in general, or maybe the tree, who knows? Makes the bodies decompose faster. You can see the flesh and all the bones bare real fast, only a day or two after the initial. I always thought it was weird, yeah, but why look a gift horse in the mouth? Saves us a whole lot of trouble. Now I gotta admit, we were pretty darn far out of town, at least 15 miles before the start of the race, or at least the road to get in. Now, the real problem came about when we noticed Louie, my little brother, he's always a little weirdo. Not a consistent kind of weird, just kind of once in a while something pop up in him. Sometimes we wonder he didn't poke a seed sometime, get changed by it, or maybe it was just all the early cheese. We're really not sure. But at the time, we were pretty well off to do. All the parents were always off doing whatever they did. The kids were at home on the ranch, tending to the cheese. We had our protective gear, hazmat suits to harvest. It wasn't no biggie to get through the day's work. Sorting the cheese was easy. Heck, we had a goat that for some reason was immune to the cheese. Believe that? Weirdest damn thing. Nevertheless, Louie one day, he just fell over. Right in front of one of our biggest trees. Been going on 20, 30, maybe 40 years at that point. Towering thing, 50, 60 feet out of the ground. Massive cheese wheels grew off of this thing. It was our best harvest. Could not ever find something better than that thing. Until it took Louie itself. Man, that was a sight. Horrible sight to see indeed. Now, he fell. Just like the men that died on the spot from the overdose of the poison on the trap ones. And I started going to him. I started calling, hey, Louie, no, Louie, what are you doing? You can't lay down on the job, Louie. We're doing stuff. Louie, come on, man. And, oh, would you look at that? Look what he does. He's just there. And then he's not. Poof. Massive explosion of dirt all around his body. And then it's just another tree. Right where his body was, 7 rungs tall. A 7-year-old moon cheese tree. And I wondered to myself very much, what could have possibly be living inside that tree? What tree could possibly be doing such a thing like that? That ain't no tree. I don't know what it is. I think it's an alien all in itself. Moon tree, moon cheese, my ass. This is the war tree. War moon. I think they let us take it. They knew it would start. We burnt them all down after that. But it was too late. Whatever was deep under the ground couldn't stop like that. No. No, there was completely wild, undeniable darkness that overspread. We lit everything on fire. Those cheese trees, oh dude, they burned. They burned real good. They burned real long. Not long though, after fires lit, started feeling wrong. Horribly wrong. I realized what we had done in the last moment. We had, of course, hurt the beast. But all that burning, all that oil, all that disgusting gunk that so chose to kill so many, it was in the air and we were breathing it. I don't know how I made it out, why I was spared at that time. Maybe I just didn't breathe enough of it in. To watch me, unable to move as I lay on the ground in the middle of the field. Before me, trailer crunched. Earth flying everywhere. A massive brown haze amidst the backdrop of fire. And I saw the pale, long haze, like a root system move itself, or some kind of alien nervous system, dredging itself out from underneath. My whole family, all the living ones were there, too, bowing before it as the tendrils encased their throats. And slowly, they melted into its form. Soon after, I would pass out, awakening to find several more spots where such creatures, I assume, ripped their way out of the ground and joined with the others. There's a darkness pulling inside of my brain, an evil that has yet to be re-released is yet plaguing me. I think there is still time to join. Where was I? Yes, that's right. I woke up. And, of course, amongst the bodies and wreckage and everything around, there was only one truly discernible thing that I could see, and that was the true amount of people slaughtered by this creature. It was impressive to say the least, despite how morbid that sounds. This thing must have been hunting more than just passerby thief in the night. No, it seemed to be finding so very many victims so fast. There must have been thousands of bones, an uncountable amount of bodies in my broken and tired mind. Truly, there was not anything I felt I could do. And instead of calling help or doing anything at all, I just walked away. I stumbled into a motel. Somehow I was able to retrieve some spare cash from a locked safe inside of our house before leaving. TV was on when I got inside, even though it should have been turned off. I didn't care. I needed some kind of distraction. When I did, in fact, see that those things hadn't stopped at just my farm. There was reports of gas line explosions. At least that's what it said, but when they showed the aftermath, it looked just like my farm. Then I saw it. I saw my farm destroyed from an aerial view. It was early in the morning when it was taken. I think I was still hidden by foliage and bushes in my unconscious state at the time. They must have been long gone. Somebody had already worked to cover it up. Or they simply disappeared, and that was the only explanation. I sat in the hotel room shaking for hours. I did not sleep that night. I did not leave or move for I don't know how long. Shakily, I was removed by police officers later that evening, completely unable to recount the story that I had been telling them. Mad ravings came from my lips as they drugged me in, and I only know of this from a second-hand recounting, reading it from documentation. This was unexpected, to say the least, and I found many days after that where I would be in a wholly unique place after just closing my eyes, opening them. There's no true explanation for my story. Only that these creatures have most likely hidden themselves in other places and are still causing disappearance. I hear that there's only very little I can do. If I do not post again in the next week about this topic, you know that they have gotten to me, said Well, that's it for me. Have a good one.